I thought I'd do a video on how to buy a STEN gun. With the increased interest in machine guns brought on by YouTube and many different YouTube channels, a lot of people were trying to buy their first machine gun. There are a lot of options out there. The MAC-10, the Rising, that are all entry level. One of the ones that I think is completely overlooked is the STEN. Since most STENs in this country are made on registered tubes with part sets, basically they're not always perfect. In other words, they're not always identical to how an original STEN was built, but they come down to three basic variations, and I have all three in front of me. The front one is a Mark II. It has the outlines wire stock. It has a vertical pistol grip, which is more commonly found on the Mark V, but will work on a Mark II. The one in the middle is a Mark III. That is an original British gun. The one in the back is a Mark V. The Mark II and the Mark V are registered tube guns, and that is commonly what is available today to most machine gun buyers. That is what I would consider entry-level prices. I'm going to show you what I think is the advantages and disadvantages to each model, and why, if you have the money, it might be better to go with one version over another. It should be noted that right now, after checking on the internet, the lowest price is the Mark III, the Mark II is middle, and the Mark V is the highest. Alright, in a second here we'll be breaking down the individual guns by their features, and then I'll make my conclusion, and then you can do with it as you please. Alright, let's get going. We're going to start with a Mark II. Why? Because 2's before 3. This is a transferable Mark II on a tube. Just like any other STEN, you have your push-pull safety. It's already locked open to fire. The sight is here, and the most important feature on the Mark II, in my opinion, is on this side, this little pin. If you back it out, and it's stiff, it's got quite the spring on it, you can remove the barrel. And why is that important? Well, two reasons. First of all, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to clean the barrel. And second, should the barrel wear out, you simply get a new barrel, put it in the gun, and screw it in place. Now, when it gets down far enough, you have to pull this spring out, because there's little notches on the barrel. And then what you do, that's why I like this grip, I usually time the grip too. Now this one's not all the way tight with the grip, and as you can see, now it's in line, so now I know it's pretty much tight. Why the Mark II? Quick change barrel. Definitely an advantage. However, costs more money. This is a Mark III, the most common, at least in the transferable world for some reason, maybe because the kits are next to nothing. But as you can see on this, since this is an original gun, it has a little finger deflector to keep you from putting your finger over the ejection port, because believe it or not, people, you don't hold a STEN by the magazine. You hold a STEN like this. Rest the magazine across your hands. This keeps your hand from hitting or covering the ejection port. This locks open like the Mark II. Obviously it's an open bolt gun. Safety's in the same place. So why would I want the 3 over the 2? Cost. Could be as much as $1,000 difference between the cost of the two weapons. Mark 5, my favorite STEN. The ergonomics of the Mark 5 are way above the Mark 2. It's so much easier to use the pistol grip. The safety's in the same place. The buttstock, if you're shooting in the cold, is way more comfortable than either the T or the wire stock. Like all the other ones, it locks open. Now, on some versions of the 2 and the 3, they put this hole here. But I don't believe that was a factory option. The 3 that I have is a factory gun and doesn't have that. But on the 5, you can actually click the safety, the charging handle in, and it manually locks the bolt from coming back. So that is a nice safety feature. Not necessary, but nice. Another thing about the 5, has better sights than the other ones. Rear sight, front sight is actually adjustable. It'll take a bayonet off an Enfield rifle. Why, I don't know. I don't really want to use a bayonet on a subgun. But just like a Mark II, if I pull this piece out, off comes the barrel and I can replace the barrel. Now, there is a distinct disadvantage to this gun in the commercial world. Since the front sight is on the barrel, the person who builds the tube has to put a locator pin. I'll try to show that to the camera. There's a little locator pin right above my finger. That locator pin corresponds to a notch in the barrel nut, which is right there. That's how the sights line up. If you do not get that locator pin in the right place, when you put the barrel in, it's going to not be sighted in. So when the gun's built, if it's built correctly, you should be able to screw any Mark V front barrel assembly on it, and it will be fine. So, based on my experience, which one of the 3 should I buy? This is going to be the most expensive. The Mark III is going to be the least expensive. Well, I can't tell you what your budget is. Your budget is yours. But, keeping them in service in today's world, there are no barrels being imported with part sets anymore. So you will not get an original Mark V barrel with a sight. You'd have to get a barrel made, profiled, and a sight, hopefully out of a part set attached. So the cost of these, of the Mark V, I think it makes it a little bit out of the entry level machine gun. So I'm going to say no to the Mark V. The Mark III, definitely the cheapest of the STENs. Part set's about 99 bucks. You don't get another barrel. But since the Mark III doesn't have a removable barrel, if you're not going to shoot tens of thousands of rounds, Mark III would probably be the way to go. You're probably not going to wear the barrel out. If you're like me and you shoot literally hundreds of thousands of rounds, I would want the feature to change the barrel. I have several Mark II part sets that came with extra barrels, so I have extra barrels from my Mark II. So, yes, with a caveat, how much are you going to shoot it? The Mark II is my choice. 2 reasons. First of all, it's not as expensive as the Mark V. Mark II part sets, at least right now, are currently available at reasonable prices. And there are companies making barrels that you can get an aftermarket barrel should you shoot your gun enough to wear out the barrel. So you want to start with a STEN, something historic, something that's absolutely fun to shoot, something that's controllable. Buy what you can afford, but if you want to shoot it a lot and really enjoy it, I would highly recommend the Mark II. One of the things I should mention, one of the other reasons I like the Mark II, before I end the video, I've already loosened up the front part of the Mark II, the barrel nut. This is an old suppressor. This was made by AWC years ago. This is a 90s version of the integrally suppressed STEN barrel. It literally screws in right where since there's a barrel inside of here, screws in, takes the place of the STEN barrel, and now I have a suppressed STEN. Again, can you do that with a Mark III? No, you'd have to have the barrel threaded. But I can do it with a Mark II. So, I'm not saying one is better than another. What I'm saying is, for at least how I shoot and what I like and cost, I don't think you can do better than the STEN Mark II. Make your own decisions. It's your money. It's your fun. I just like to see as many people as possible get into the Class 3 hobby. Have a good one.